A red that's not Protoss, that's a Zerg. Our red Zerg player is, in fact, MeomaikA. Repping Team Gosu as we get into this first best of 3 of the day. In the bottom left-hand corner, repping Mystery Gaming, it is Nanami, who maybe is also known as Chiaki. I've never seen the double name on the bottom there before, but there you go, Nanami Chiaki. I'm going to call them Nanami because that's enough of a mouthful for me to say every single time already. As our spawning pool comes up first here from MeomaikA. Well, MeomaikA. If you are not familiar with MeomaikA, if this is your first time watching one of these regions from the, what we now call Asia, beforehand it was Oceania and rest of Asia, I suppose, that MeomaikA played from. He was in, he's a Vietnamese player. He's weird. He's aggressive. He will do things you don't expect. It's very hard to be well prepared against MeomaikA because MeomaikA will show up and MeomaikA will make your life miserable because he just, you're not going to get to plan against MeomaikA. You can try. You can say, oh yeah, generally I want to do this, that, and that. But if that doesn't really work out, then yeah, you can be in a whole lot of trouble very quickly. So yeah, that's the issue, that MeomaikA is just able to sort of bring whatever and undo a lot of your planning, undo a lot of the work you want to set out to kind of, set in place, set in stone and everything else. So yeah, he's a crazy player, and already like pool gas, then the hatch, that alone is already maybe signs of how MeomaikA wants to play today. He's sort of saying, hey, look, I'm going to come into this. I'm going to be a little bit aggressive. I'm going to get Lings out early. I'll have a faster gas than usual. And these are all things I can use to my advantage over the next few minutes here to try and put myself in a favorable position to try and really knock your confidence, I think is what it is, especially at this sort of level where, when you're not talking about the very top of the top, it's very easy to kind of see a lot of these players and they're like, oh, well, he likes to kind of do this build, or he likes to do that build. In this situation, you kind of get that, build taken away from you in a pretty big way. So, yeah. A couple of adepts, by the way, just going to move on forward and see what they can do there. Some extra Lings on the way from MeomaikA. I wouldn't even say this is too weird yet, just going up to 8 Lings, 19 drones, but we've got more on the way, so this is not a pure Ling flood or anything along those lines. Couple of adepts coming through, just going to knock down a creep tumors. That creep will be taken out, and we just have our adepts up into the high ground to again try and see if they can do some damage. It would be nice if you can come through and get a couple shots off, get a little bit of pings and pangs and all the rest. Knock a couple of drones down early, but we don't find anything. I mean, I'm fine with us keeping the adepts alive. I think that's very valuable as well, naturally, but I will say that, yeah, I feel like Nanami is the one that has to do something, and the Twilight Council opening is going to suggest that Nanami feels like that as well. Feels like he got to be the aggressor early on in this game. Those two adepts will be forced to recall home. Obviously, with the Twilight coming up, expecting this to be Glaives, if that is going to be the case, you want to keep these adepts alive. You want to see these, coming out a little bit further down the line, a little bit later on here as well. So, as our Twilight comes through, adepts are kept alive. We're actually going to see the Overlord Scout coming in. It's already seen a Twilight. Now going to see the Twilight researching as well. There is not an anti-air unit here, not a single Stalker in sight. So nothing that can ping this Overlord away or ping this Overlord back. The Overlord just going to have to take a couple steps away and just gets to live, which is obviously amazing. We drop down the Robo. And of course, there's so many different ways to play Adepts in this day and age. I do wonder what exactly this one will be. Are we going to Robo Bay follow-up? Because this is only 3 gateways. There's always potential to add on 3 more gates and try and do some kind of 6-gate aggression off of all of this too. There's that Overlord. It's kind of funny. We've got a second Overlord popping in. He's like, haha! Yeah, you thought my first one was going to die, but it didn't die. And, yeah, slightly awkward. A little bit weird. But yes, this Overlord gets to show up, gets to pop in. The extra gates coming out. Robotics facility producing. Like I said, there's always the potential of taking this up to 6 gates. Because this Overlord came in, instead of the one that was more to the left, we actually do not get the Scout on these 3 gateways. Which I think is a real shame. Because if this wanted to come back in, I think you actually do get to see at least the pylon there and the gateways coming down. Yeah, I think that's a mistake from MeomaikA in terms of the Overlords he sets up, because there was no reason to send that one in compared to others. We have another Overlord here, as obviously at this point MeomaikA is setting up roaches, also a lair. The question mark is going to be, can he figure out just how many gates this is? Can he truly prepare for how aggressive this is about to turn out to be? These few adepts already going to have to shade back and back away. Our lane is continuing through to the south side, the left continuing up, extra adepts continue to build. Our left is moments from finishing in the main of MeomaikA, and this hallucination just going to fly on by into the natural, in toward the main. Obviously getting some good info, but the thing is, info isn't really necessary for you. You're building 6 gates of adepts. You're going to go no matter what. It's almost like pretending like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to scout. I just want to know what's going on. Don't mind me. A nice normal game on my part, but in reality, it's not like that at all. You know, this scout is just kind of faking the idea of wanting information because you just don't want that information. You want to just go, go, go. There's going to be an immortal behind this. I mean, maybe you pick up some info as to whether or not you're going to go for the immortal phase straight away or what. I mean, right now, there's units here from MeomaikA. He's not being caught off guard at any point. His defense is absolutely solid, and there's just no breaking it down so far. Even the Prism can't get in with these adepts, so this is a real shame. No damage done at all, and that's got to push MeomaikA into a favorable position early on in this game. See the Assimilator coming up from Nanami. We see the Blink now producing on the Twilight Council as well. And the rest of these adepts just shading through the third base. The other adepts just unloading on the natural expansion, picking up one drone, looking for a second. And Ling's getting a little wraparound as well, just to force those adepts back up into the high ground. And they are going to drop into the main base, where we're going to get rid of a couple more drones. Spore Crawler still firing, the Prism loading up once again. The rest of our adepts here will just make their move, heading around the right-hand side. But this Roach is already counterattacking. This is where the Immortals are going to be very important, and this is the problem, is obviously you've tried to go 6-gate adept and you didn't really do much. I mean, yes, now we've killed 7 drones, but that's a very late 7 drones to be killing. The Prism's pinned into the corner. The Adept's on the wrong side of these Roaches as well. And don't get me wrong, the Immortal should help, but it's a numbers game. And right now, MeomaikA is playing with all the numbers. He took them all. If this was bingo, he would win everything, because he has them all. Does that make sense? That how bingo works? I think so. You have all the numbers, you must get everything, right? Alright, well, I'm sure ZG would enlighten me, but unfortunately the enlightenment part of this half of this duo is not with us just yet as Alan Roach backs away. Our adepts on the other side try to go for another couple of dronies. Queen Roaches continuing to ping. This Prism is going to go down. That's nice to see as MeomaikA is being slowed down a little bit with these adepts, but now that the Prism's gone, do we not just get the chance to go straight across the map and just apply a ton of pressure and really push Nanami into a very difficult position? Stalker's knocked down an Overlord to start things out. That Blink is about to finish as well. We've got the Roaches still pushing across the map, catching the Stalker here with these few Zerglings is always a great catch as well. As we come on forwards, those couple force fields are going to go down. Roaches are still coming through. We're going to have that Immortal going to get picked up. Another Immortal is going to go down. Super Battery didn't quite get enough of a heal on that Immortal to keep it going. And as you can see, MeomaikA just has way too much. This didn't need to be anything fancy from him. He was just safe. He got the units out in time to defend. And from there, he's just kept on building units because Nanami didn't do enough with the initial investment. You need to kill drones early if you're going to play 6-gate Glaives. And this is why, because otherwise the Zerg economy allows you to overrun anything the Protoss can afford in comparison. Obviously, the Protoss on a very late third base. This was never meant to be a game where you go Blink. Not unless you did serious damage first. That's obviously not the case. That is going to be GG's. MeomaikA picks up the first game of the day. And he's going to take that W, a 1-0 lead. I'll be rocking that 1-0 lead into our second map here in just a couple of moments. Get that ready to rumble. Alrighty, friends. We are just going to wait up for game number 2 to get hosted here. We are going to have to swap server, though, so we will just be right back with that one. The first match of this was played on Korea. The second match is going to be played on Singapore, and the third map as well, which just means we've got to go. The Singapore server is hosted on the American server, so we have to swap on over to America, which isn't difficult to do or anything. Just letting you guys know it might be a moment longer than you're used to when it comes to these games, when it comes to this little bits of downtime, because I know we've been pretty swift the last few days, just kind of going game, game, game. Obviously, server hops are the one thing that do slow us down a little bit here and there, but we're on the new server. Just waiting for our admin to join us, host up the lobby, and game number 2 should be upon us. I even have, at least I thought I had, the map order here, but apparently I am on the wrong page or something. I do not have it. I thought I did. I will try and open that up again later then. We'll just wait and see what map number 2 is going to be when it gets hosted up. That should just be a couple of moments. And we'll dive our way into our second game in just a couple. As, yeah, MeomaikA just looked good. And I like what Nanami chooses, something aggressive, something that doesn't necessarily need the game to go long, right? This is very much so a case of, oh, we can just play like a very comfortable early game, we can just play a very comfortable kind of like early few moments, get aggressive, and just try and deal mega damage, get ahead, and just go from there. Obviously, that doesn't quite how it turned out in the end. It didn't unfortunately work out like that or anything. He didn't do the damage needed in MeomaikA, like I said. He didn't have to get all flashy and fancy and everything that sometimes MeomaikA likes to do. This was just plain, standard, normal stuff. Very simple, just he defended, he built the units on the follow-up, and he just went. So very cool in that regard. As, we will get ready for our next match very shortly. Oh. Nanami said, ready, go. Everyone was ready, and then Nanami was like, wait! My hotkeys! He's going to have to find those in a couple of moments as we get our admin to not start the lobby. It'll just be a few more moments here, Nanami getting this up and running here on day 3 again of this Swiss group stage. Again, obviously, tomorrow is day 4 of the ESL Masters, day 1 of round 2 of Swiss, though. And it gets more exciting. I actually feel as though, right, like, every round you advance in Swiss, in theory, you have players better and better matched up against each other. And that works in both ways. Just because you're watching the two players who are 0-1 battle against each other, in theory, they are more similarly skilled than when they were playing their original opponents as well, right? So I think that's the big thing that's really exciting about Swiss. As the days go by, as each day passes, we are going to get better matches. We are going to get more exciting matches with way more on the line as well. Someone goes 1-0 now or 0-1 now, you know, we've still got a couple matches to go before anything really exciting happens. But think about the final ground, guys. We're going to have a bunch of players on 2-2. Do or die. I mean, even when it gets to the point where someone's 0-2 and they have to win every match to make playoffs, every match just can be like elimination setup as well. It's not like, oh yeah, you get to play like, you know, how do I say it, right? It's not like you're like guaranteed to play the rest of your matches. Like, you might be out, but you still get to play for some more money, you know, the extra best threes. No, that's not how it works now. Every match you play is for playing in the tournament. It's either working towards playoffs or staying alive from elimination. Once you reach playoffs, once you get eliminated, that's it. No more games for you. It is possible to only play 3 best-of-3s in this group stage, so that is obviously pretty heckin' notable as we ready ourselves up into Babylon for map number 2 of this best-of-3. Thanks for a little bit of patience with us there as we got this set up. And here we are, as we have got in the bottom right-hand side our red Zerg player. This is MeomaikA. Taking on the blue Protoss on the top left from Mystery Gaming, we have got ourselves Nanami. Game number 2, Nanami. What are you going to bring out then? Because MeomaikA kind of opened Pool and Gas before Hatch, but didn't really do much with it, so I wouldn't really say he set the tone of the game or anything. It was Nanami that really chose, right, let's go 6 gates, let's go in. As our pro, just going to go wandering, just checking out the main base for a couple moments here. Spawning Pool is on the way up, bringing that into play. And, yeah, just Pool. I mean, honestly, from MeomaikA, I don't mind it. If you feel like you're the heavy favorite, and you're kind of used to playing weirder builds and not always playing, like, hatchery first anyway, why not open a Pool and a Gas early, be very safe, limit the way your opponent can win in quick, kind of cheesy manners. So yeah, I like MeomaikA, what MeomaikA's doing. And it's not necessarily even MeomaikA saying, oh, I want to play safe against this guy. I would think that MeomaikA would play this way if he was playing against someone of his same skill level. But that's a benefit of how MeomaikA plays. It's very hard to cheese out a guy that's very likely to be building units and to be kind of attacking you aggressively at any point anyway. So it actually becomes quite difficult to kind of be the underdog against MeomaikA, I suppose, in that regard. Because, yeah, just kind of getting that cheeky cheese off, he's not prepped for it. I mean, maybe something like DT's where he doesn't build spores, right? But anything where it's like, oh, I'm going to overwhelm you with units or do something super fast, those kind of things just don't really work when he's likely building units anyway, right? Yeah, not really, as our Overlord is just going to go for the scout into the natural. And, yeah, just a little bit of a look to see what's going on early. Not too much happening. As our Warp Gate, Adept, all of this coming up. Get this underway. A quick note on the format, just in terms of kind of when those kind of maybe more exciting matches start. I'm not trying to delude any or take away from any of the matches happening right now, but when we talk about kind of players advancing to playoffs or players being eliminated, that starts in round 3 of Swiss. So obviously that is sort of beginning of next week. We'll start to have some 2-0s and 0-2s playing against each other, and that's when we're going to start eliminating people. And obviously from there, as well as players get eliminated or advanced, there's less matches in each kind of round needed, because if you're already 3-0, you don't play another match, right? So while we only get through 2 rounds of Swiss in this first week, we do get through 3 rounds of Swiss in week 2, and that is why, because there's just less matches for each round necessary. So it should be the beginning of next week we really start to eliminate or advance players through the tournament. Again, this first week, just the groundwork, the foundations being made. As Deft shading up in toward the main base, not really much going on there. There is link speed finishing. We've got 6 links though, 8 links total, pretty much the same as last time. We are going to mix it up, by the way. We're going to see the Dark Shrine being set up from Nanami in the back of the main, so that's going to be a starting point. Get that Dark Shrine started. You know, the gateway going down, robotics facility being built here as well. And a couple spores coming down across the board as our lings are going to knock on the front. Our Adept already taking a little bit of damage. Spores continue through. Hatchery and Lair all producing. All of this coming in for the moment. Our Prism also just on the way out. And our Dark Shrine about halfway done. More lings continuing through the Lair builds in the main base. So just get that started up as well. 14 extra lings continue to produce. MeomaikA is one of the players that loves the Hydralisk as well. Not a lot of people love the Hydras in ZVP, but MeomaikA does, and it's very possible this fast lair is for something like a super fast Hydra Den. Just play Ling Hydra into the mid game. One of the big benefits of having this fast lair is that you're going to be able to make Overseers, and Overseers are fantastic use against Dark Templar. You might already have the spores in position, but the Overseers then mean that the DTs can't like camp out over here. It just limits how long they can stick around on the map. It forces them into the Archon phase a little bit sooner, as our couple of DTs warp in, and they are going to reveal themselves on these lings, which I kind of hate, because honestly that just feels as though, I mean, did we have a full-on scout against this? I mean, maybe MeomaikA expects it, but now you've just revealed these DTs. It would have just been a heads up to start building spores. In this case, an Overseer can come down a little bit more quickly as well. That Overseer just morphing right overhead is going to finish up, and now the Lings can more easily chase down this group of units as well, because they can actually work against the Dark Templar. We kill off a few of the Adepts, and already I feel like MeomaikA is edging ahead in this game. And Nanami has a worker lead, but he's on a couple of DTs only. There's roaches now being built for MeomaikA. I think a big part of the worker lead is that MeomaikA didn't continue building drones because he didn't want to. MeomaikA is building roaches because he wants to build a crap ton of roaches. You know, he wants to get across the map and he wants to go and attack. So absolutely expecting that to be the case in the next few moments, that he's just going to rally across, because of course you can't use the DTs defensively because it's such a fast lair as well. So that's one of the benefits of this Overseer. It actually allows you to be aggressive with your roaches, where usually DTs would stop a lot of the early attacks pre-lair. But yeah, the lair's quick this time, so it's not going to matter. Still only 39 drones. We just killed one of the DTs as well, and every DT that's lost is a pretty big cost, because, well, that could have been essentially half an Archon. And have you guys ever seen half an Archon wandering around? No, you need a full Archon to do damage, guys. Half of this thing, there's just no movement involved. It's unbalanced. Balls of energy need 2 halves to be secure. Something like that, physics. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a physics thing, trust me. Prism lifts up the 2 Archons, and like I say, you had to warp in an extra DT to be able to do this, but again, that's just the cost, right? And now you've spent more on getting these 2 Archons up that should have just been here anyway, and it just means that overall there's less to defend against this big roach attack, as MeomaikA tripling the army supply. Roach is going to arrive onto the 3rd base. A couple Stalkers warping in. I would just insta-kill these ones warping in. They can't be healed by a battery while warping in. We have enough Roaches to one-shot Stalkers. Well, the battery's not going to last long anyway, is it? Blink finishes. That gives us a chance to micro around. And hey, he kills off the Overseer, which means you can now warp in a DT against this. And MeomaikA should be careful about getting another Overseer up. It's a very obvious move as well. The Stalker's just target firing that. It should be very apparent that this is happening, unless, I guess, MeomaikA was still kind of dealing with the Archon drop over here. The 2 new Overseers are going to go down. Nanami's going to stay in it because he's denying the detection. He's actually going to give his DTs a chance to do a lot of damage. I mean, there's a lot to be done, don't get me wrong. They've got a lot of roaches to clean up, but there is a hope. There is a chance that there maybe was never meant to be. if nothing else. I think this time around we'll probably see a much more careful MeomaikA when it comes to these probes. You don't think they would have talked to each other like, hey, we're under attack over here. No, we're over attack over there. Okay, maybe let's go somewhere else. Instead, they just trade which units they're being attacked by. Silly probes should have communicated. That's why you should always talk to your co-workers, guys. As our roaches continue to knock down a few extra probes. 27 workers already killed. Obviously, this damage is racking up to a whole new level, a whole new extreme. 30 probes killed, 31, 32, 33. I mean, I can count all day if MeomaikA wants to kill probes all day, and I guess he will kill probes until pretty much his opponent has none left. There is a lacking army supply now for MeomaikA. Like, it's not as overwhelming as it once was. The DTs honestly got a lot done at the end of this, but I mean, resources lost is even as well. But now MeomaikA has had a massive round of drones. Now MeomaikA is working off of a 20-worker lead, and it's going to be down in Nanami to defend. And I will say that Nanami's also lost 12 Stalkers. You know, units that are meant to be supporting here. So if you look at what he has right now, 2 Archons, 2 DTs, and 1 Stalker. It's not really going to cut it if MeomaikA is going to make a massive round of roaches. We're actually going to add on a Hydra Den as well. Another Overlord going down. It's the one thing that MeomaikA has been a little bit not so great with, right? I mean, this Overlord was just in the middle of nowhere. Previous Overseers flying over Archons obviously wasn't super pretty either. That wasn't exactly great. As our Prism works around this right side, and a couple of Archons will just go to the far right and see what they can get up to. Like I say, I mean, you've got to do some amount of damage. If you're not doing any damage at all with this Prism, you're still in a lot of trouble, right? I mean, there is a playable situation here from Nanami. The worker count is coming back online. The 3rd base was kept alive, so you can build those workers more quickly. These Archons need to keep MeomaikA busy to give you a chance to get something good up against Hydras, because Hydras are the new big problem. When it was just roaches, you could argue that, you know, eventually these roaches really do wear down. They don't do enough DPS at a certain point, and, you know, the game really kind of gets slowed down in a big way. In this case, a couple of Archons, they're not really going to do it against Hydras. Hydras just have too much DPS, so you kind of want to stop MeomaikA from hitting you before you have a bit more preparation made. I feel like MeomaikA might just be able to swarm with a bit too much. He's cutting drones again, so Nanami is back in a worker lead. It is just a case of defend this, and you should be fairly good to go. Stalkers and the Archon gathering between the bases here, and we will see the roaches turning back around. Open up some rocks, just speed up the process of Hydras moving across the map. Muscular augments the first upgrades, again, that Hydra speed to get them moving more quickly. We could have kind of guessed that simply for the fact that he hasn't been droning. If MeomaikA wanted to play a more macro-focused game, it probably would have been A, drones, and then B, groove spines first, just a bit better defensively. Obviously, the Hydras don't need to have that speed to just run around the bases defending at first. It's, uh-oh. No vision on these roaches moving out, which means that the Stalkers are out of position, the Archons are not here. Now the Stalkers turn back around. Well, there's an initial Archon that just gets killed off. Super Battery's a bit late. And the roaches, I like it. You force a recall and you just leave. It's very conservative play from MeomaikA. And it's because it's not like he wants to be conservative overall in the game. It's just he's waiting on his Hydras anyway. This little roach attack wasn't meant to be the big attack. So, you know, continue to attack in there would have made no sense. You're giving up roaches. It just wouldn't have made sense at all. It would have been a complete disaster, if I do say so myself. As our roaches, our Hydras continue to gather up. A couple DTs going to get picked away at as well. Probes also going down. Zal's getting picked away at. Overseer getting knocked down as well, as roaches and Hydras continue to move on through into this base. And I don't think with triple army supply, MeomaikA is going to have much trouble. I mean, we've got probes running away to the 4th location, which isn't exactly ideal either, because, well, now they're just stuck over here. They're going to run back through. Our roaches and Hydras get rid of a lot of those. The stalker count is being decimated. And, well, 20 plus workers all going down. And that is going to be a pretty sizable lead, obviously, for MeomaikA at the tail end of this. He is going to be in a very comfortable spot. 2-0, and really just rounding out the first day of his ESL Masters with a bang.